The federal government has read the Riot Act to premiers and chief ministers ahead of National Cabinet today, calling on them to step up their efforts to tackle domestic, sexual and family violence. Almost all states and territories are falling well behind on their commitments to hire 500 frontline workers to help tackle the crisis.
So it's sure to be a tense conversation as the leaders meet this morning, with the Commonwealth pushing states to match more than $350 million in funding. Lots to unpack. Let's go straight to our political reporter, Evelyn Manfield at Parliament House. Evelyn, very good morning to you. So what's expected from today's key meeting?
Michael, we heard from Finance Minister and Minister for Women Katie Gallagher yesterday, expecting that there would be a substantial package announced out of this National Cabinet. It now looks like the federal government will put forward $351 million, and then it will be asking the states to collectively do the same. So another $351 million based on their populations. And it's understood that will go towards extending support for frontline services, that support which is set to expire. We're also hearing from legal centres as well that they're really hoping that they will get some of this money out of today's National Cabinet too, because when you talk to legal centres and frontline services helping women and children across the country, they just tell you how under pressure they are and that they just don't have the funding there to be able to provide the support that they want to women and children in need. Now, this is the second time that National Cabinet is focusing on men's violence against women and children as the key focus of this meeting. We did have a focus in May, and that came after, people would remember, there was just a shocking rise in the number of women killed at the hands of men. And of course, we saw those rallies around the country as well. So that was the initial crisis response. Now today is sort of a follow-up on that. We also had a rapid review in the meantime as well. So that was a group of experts looking at making recommendations on really what as a country we can do better. A few of the things that they recommended was work towards a total ban on gambling advertising. Of course, that's something that's really topical here in Parliament House too. Restrictions on things like the time frame of alcohol sales. They also wanted to put a focus on the experiences of marginalised groups across the country, particularly First Nations women, and youth-specific services as well, because you hear stories about kids who face family violence and they have nowhere to go but to adult services. The other priority from that rapid review was to really keep this issue as a focus of National Cabinet. So look, it's been a crisis all along, and this is the government's crisis response, and we'll hear those details as they unfold today.
Okay, and also just before we go, they're expected to be a focus on frontline service staffing levels too, a key cause of concern.
Yeah, that's right. Look, there's a target that across the country there'll be 500 frontline workers installed by 2026. At the moment, the interim target was around 350 by June this year. Of course, that's been and gone and been missed. When you look at some of the specific states, Queensland has only got 51 of 91 full-time equivalent people in these roles that were part of the target, and then New South Wales 30 of 118. So there's certainly pressure building from the federal government going to the states saying, we've given you this money, you really need to deliver on these crucial workers.